What's going on, y'all? We back in the building. Listen, we're doing a little random live right now. A little random live, but here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We'll let some people come into the room first. We're going to be discussing Salt Lake City for those of you guys who are watching the replay. And we're going to also be discussing love and hip hop. Yes, both of them. Both of them. That's what we're going to discuss today. Salt Lake City, it's a new episode. It is episode 1 of season 6. It's called Hot Dogs and Hearsay. It says Angie arranges a surprise RV trip for the women's. But with Lisa gone for work, Bronwyn brings up some rumors she's heard about Lisa's business. Tensions brew as Brittany calls out Whitney. Heather and Bronwyn go face to face, heads to heads. Okay. Now, for those of you guys who have just jumped into the room, I'm going to place your comments on the screen so you can feel like you're part of the conversation. But please, please, please use your discretion. Do not say anything crazy, else you shall be dismissed. Okay? Quick and in short order. In that order, as Mama D would say. You're going to be gone. Out of here. Okay? So let's get into the episode. I want to give you guys my thoughts. If you happen to catch the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because it is back, what's going on? Y'all let us know where y'all watching from in the chatterization, okay? Don't be afraid, okay? You ain't got to say your exact address or nothing like that, but just give us rep your city. How about that? Let's get into the episode in general. I got to give you guys my honest opinion, right? I had very high expectations for Salt Lake City coming back because I just felt like Salt Lake City has an irreverence, a fun slapstick quality to it, wherein the women take themselves seriously but unseriously. And it's just a lot of comedy. Andy Cohen always calls Housewives a comedy. And I feel like Salt Lake City is probably one of the cities right now that exhibits what that feels like. Salt Lake City, Potomac, and Miami, in my eyes, are the cities that really exhibit that sort of that attitude, that comedic attitude, right? So coming into this new season, I'm not going to lie, I had high expectations. If you happen to see last season's premiere, it was the Bezos party. I think it was thrown by Lisa Barlow. That entire episode was the entire premiere was the party. And we're introduced to Bronwyn, we're introduced to Brittany, two people who have become really forces to be reckoned with on this show in their own individual ways. And so I feel like, to me, there was a lot of expectation coming into this first episode. Okay. Did this episode meet those expectations? In my opinion, no. Okay. And I know that I'm probably going to be in the minority when I say this, but I did not feel like it measured up to last season's premiere. But was it better than a lot of other shows? Absolutely. And the reason why I feel like it was not as good as last season is because I feel like we're only 6 seasons into this show. And I feel like they're already leaning into nostalgia, right? What do I mean by that? Well, I felt like the entire episode is an RV trip, right? And the elephant in the room is that Lisa Barlow is not present for this trip at all. My thought is, and I don't know this to be true, it feels to me like Lisa Barlow was maybe renegotiating that contract and wanted some more money. I don't know this to be true. I'm just telling you what it feels like, okay? And it feels like because maybe the negotiations hadn't gone down, in the way that, maybe, she wanted to in the time period that they said, well, we're going to go ahead and film without you, right? And nowadays, you may lose out on some coin if you don't appear in those episodes, potentially, right? Depending on the contract. And so, really, what it does is it tells you whether or not this show can survive without Lisa. Any show can technically survive without a centerpiece, but do they want to, right? And is Lisa Barlow the centerpiece of this show? I would argue that the network and producers are kind of positioning Angie to be the new centerpiece of this particular franchise. Okay. I will also tell you that shows typically, I would say, probably have a better chance of lasting longer if there is no one person who ends up being the face, because then you are become at the mercy of that person and that face. Okay. Um, and so that's why I think Lisa was not there. Do I know that to be true? Absolutely not. I'm just taking a guess. And so it has to be positioned as though she was gone for work, right? Because no one misses the first cast trip of the season. No one misses the premiere episode of the season. No one does that, right? Period. Like, we know that to be true. And we've been in this space long enough to know. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of go down the list of people and the reasons why or why not things disappointed me or made me excited about it being back, right? So the next thing, and Kelly, no, we're gonna get to Yandy's mess in a little bit. I kind of wanted to let people get into the room, so I figured we would talk about Salt Lake City first, and then we would get into the Yandy of it all. So stick around. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of run through everybody. Angie is playing in the trip along with Mary. It's an RV trip. They all think that they're going to a glamorous glamping spa, and they're actually going into the woods. The backwoods. And they're going to be sleeping in the RV. And so, in general, I feel like production would probably do something like this in order to take these glamorous ladies and put them in an environment that they're not used to, and therein lies the drama, right? Of course, cool. I get that. Here's where I think, again, the episode lost me, because you're leaning into the nostalgia of a Jen Shaw moment where she was literally, the people were looking for her. The government was looking for her. You know what I'm saying? And so as they're leaving the RV, the beauty lab where they've been picked up by the RV, Whitney, who it seems as though she's not supposed to know that they're going to be taking an RV, has arranged for police, i.e. strippers dressed as police, to come and look for her, to arrest her, so that there can be a striptease moment. Again, calling back to one of their most iconic moments. And again, we're only 6 seasons in. Why are we recalling stuff so soon? Like, we should be making new moments. That's kind of what annoyed me about this first episode. And I just felt like it didn't land to me. It felt lame. And I felt like this was useless and pointless because the moment was then and gone, right? Yes. Shout out to Cardi. So I just kind of feel like, why are we doing this? I mean, what are we doing it for? Speaking of Whitney, there is a moment where the ladies are questioning why Lisa isn't there and what's going on with her and all these lawsuits and whatnot. And Brittany, who is suddenly best friends with Lisa, chimes in and is like, y'all not going to talk about her. Whitney, you can't be talking about her. It's not nice. You have things going on in your business too. And so Whitney's like, yeah, you want to talk about my business, but how do you make your money? Sucking D? And so Brittany is like, gasp, okay? And later on, she's going to be butthurt about it, right? Later on, when she confronts Whitney about why she did it. Speaking of Brittany, again, a failure for me for this episode is, why are we leaning into, yet again, Brittany coming to the table with a weak announcement? Girl, stop it. Like, you and Jared, you're together 1 minute, you're not together. Nobody really cares, to be quite honest with you. If I never saw that man on my Real Housewives of Salt Lake City screen again, it would be too soon. So flaunting this person around like he is the master prize when no one else thinks he is but you sounds ultimately really crazy. Come to us with something brand new this season because I am over that. Okay? That's up next. But the best moment of the episode to me, and probably one of Whitney's realest moments, was when Brittany confronted her about the sucking D comment. Whitney's like, yeah, girl, because you're calling me out about a business that I failed in. I failed. Okay. I failed. I failed my employees. I failed my business, millions of dollars lost. Like, I just respected that moment so much because I feel like you don't really see a lot of that on reality TV. And to do it in front of the group, no less, and just put it out there and just lay her heart bare. I absolutely love that. And I did feel when she said that if Lisa were to open up in that way, then it would come across a lot better for Lisa in general. I like Lisa Barlow, but I do see what they're saying about that. I don't think that she's very transparent about the certain things that are going on in her life. And maybe that's just not who she is. All right. So listen, let's move on. We got Heather Gay, who also frustrated me in this episode. All right. Number one, Heather, to me, my assessment of Heather Gay, and y'all tell me what y'all think. Heather, to me, seems to need someone to lean on. What do I mean by that? First, it was Jen Shaw, and I feel like now it's Heather Gay. Now it's Lisa Barlow. I feel like Heather needs to be under the wing of the most popular, biggest personality so that she does not become their target. And as a result, she ends up frustratingly defending that person to no end. Of course, now that Jen is away, she has discarded Jen like yesterday's news, and she has burrowed herself and her face tucked quite neatly under Lisa Barlow's underarm pit. Okay? That's what it feels like to me. A person who should have a mind of their own, who has a successful business, has overcome so much, it's odd how she needs to be under somebody's bosom so bad. And so much so that she calls out Bronwyn for lying about that necklace, which, to be honest, Bronwyn did lie. But Bronwyn, like Whitney, owns it. You know who should not be calling out anybody about a lie? Is Heather Gay. Heather Gay misled the audience and her castmates for 2 years about a black eye. If Bronwyn was a thinking woman in that moment, she would have swung right back at Heather and said, "You are the biggest because you told the girls one thing about your black eye, and then that story metamorphosed. It went from a caterpillar to a butterfly. You don't know what happened to your eye, according to you. So you can't school nobody else about lying, can you?" Meanwhile, Mary is still Mary, and we love her for that. Angie is still Angie, and Meredith is just, I like Meredith, but on the show, she sometimes gives me sleepy, you know? Like she needs a cappuccino or 5. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, girl, wake me up before you go. Like at some point, wake up. All right. There is my discussion of Salt Lake City. If I had to give this premiere a rating, I would honestly give it maybe a 7.9. But that's just me. You guys let me know what you think. But note, the Salt Lake City scale is higher than most Housewives shows. So their 7.9 is like an 8.9 for other shows. That's just me. Okay. All right, so let's move on to Love in the Hip Hop. Okay. And we're gonna only talk about a couple of those things because um, you know, I mean, it's really what is there to talk about? It's the Commonwealth of Problems. The Frosts wonder if Scrappy's trip will land them in a tropical paradise or a cold front. Yandy and Mendeeces start to realize their relationship may be dead in the water. Sierra's brother-in-law reveals Selma's commitment. All right, so let's just talk about. Let me get Yandy out of the way first. As I was watching this episode, the one thing that really struck me is that, and this is season 13, episode 11, just for just so you guys will have a better understanding of what it is that we are discussing in this particular episode. Um, Yandy and Mendeeces. Yandy meets with Mendeeces' mom, Judy. Mandy meets with Keisha, her cousin. Mandy then finally meets up with Mendeeces alone. Okay. In this first scene, Mandy, aka Yandy, meets with Judy, who then arrives. Well, Mendeeces arrives later. The biggest takeaway from me in this scene with Mendeeces and Yandy is Judy seems rather like supportive of like, hey, y'all keep y'all problems to yourselves, right? There's a moment that is really critical in this scene wherein Yandy, maybe accidentally, playfully, I don't really know what it is, picks up Mendeeces' water glass. Mendeeces is like, why you grabbing my glass? So Mandy, aka Yandy, is very much like, well, why are you so upset about that? Why are you making this into a thing? Okay. And so for Mandy, that means that this signifies to her small issues becoming larger issues as a result of their internal issues that are already happening. So when Yandy, aka Mandy, meets up with her cousin Keisha, she tells Keisha that she don't feel like fighting for this marriage no more. Okay. Now, when Mandy, aka Yandy, meets up with Mendeeces in another scene, they're sitting down for a ponderosa. For which this is when it really hit me that Mendeeces has checked out of the marriage. Okay. The man is checked out. When Mandy, aka Yandy, suggests to him, like, well, you are making big issues out of small issues. And she tells him about the water thing. He's like, well, why are you making an issue out of the water thing? Well, sir, you are the one who made the issue out of the water thing. Okay. She's bringing it to your attention. So this Jedi mind trick thing that he's doing with her, I feel like, bro, like we, the camera, and me, the camera crew, the cameraman, the boom person, the producer, the line producer, the associate producer, the PA, the waiter, the server at the restaurant, the parking attendant down the street, the valet, the person who is working underneath the stairs, we can all see that you have checked out of this relationship. Okay. And you basically are doing a stonewalling situation wherein you are going to just be ambivalent to everything. And you really seem to want Yandy to make the decision to leave. That to me is what seems like is going on. I feel like we've all seen these things before. And listen, Mandy, I don't know if you are listening to me or not, but at the end of the day, I think that you should go ahead and pick up the pieces, take your emotions back to that man in London, and you need to go on over there and do what you got to do. Swing on that thing if you want to, whatever the case may be. Because I mean, y'all really even married? Is there really a lot to do? Like maybe he can just leave. I don't know. But I feel like he is very much checked out. Y'all both got y'all sunglasses on at the table when y'all talking to each other. I mean, he's just like, I don't really care. He was like, and then you know what he had the nerve to say? He's like, I've been fighting for this relationship for a year. She was like, I've been fighting for this relationship since we got in it. Okay. I've been holding you down while you was locked up. I done had to fight off your baby's mamas. I done had to fight with your mama. I done had to fight all my life, and I'm still fighting today. And all you want to do is talk about how you started fighting for this marriage when you took off your ring. Sir, that is when you became absent. Okay. That's when you became absent. And so for me, I felt like, yes, you might have had an issue with Yandy and doing all the things that she might have been doing to try to hold y'all down. The woman had to be a workaholic in order to hold the house down, all your kids, all your babies, mamas, and all your mama and everything else while you was away and doing what you need, doing what didn't need to be done. So now the woman ain't nothing but a workaholic because she had to be a workaholic, and now you complaining. Okay, you've been working for a year. Get out of here. Yeah, Mandy, if you don't leave that situation right now, and I ain't really with actually telling people to leave a marriage or nothing like that, but if they was married, I wouldn't say it. Okay, I don't know if they married or not. I'm confused. So at the end of the day, cut your losses. If you ain't married, get on and get on and just keep it moving, right? Take your butt down to Puerto Rico because that's what you want to do, Mendeeces. Yandy, you hop a flight back to London because that's probably what you rather be doing right now, and just call a thing a thing. Now, how my session expire? Anyway, so that's my thoughts on it. It really clicked to me while I was watching this. I said, he's gone. Mandy girl, he is gone. He is checked out. He is not at the lunch. He is not at the dinner. He is not at the breakfast. Girl, he is gone. That man mind is gone. Okay. And you probably need to let him at this point. Just let him. Just let him go. Because I feel like what Mandy is doing is she is fighting to hold on to someone who does not want to be held. That would it feel like to me. And then she get up from the table, like, what you want to do? You want, I mean, your silence is telling me. And then she get up, she slink away from the table, looking all dejected and whatnot. I was like, girl, you better run skipping up out of that thing. Speaking of outside, Sierra's man Zay is it his cousin? I don't know who he is. Anyway, he apparently is, and is basically like, yeah, I be smashing all the married women. And one of those happens to be Selma, who we literally just met this season, who happens to be in this most amazing marriage with 24 hours. And all of a sudden, we find out that, he has been allegedly, let me put the alleged badge up here because I didn't say it, he did, because allegedly he has been smashing that thing, rocking that thing like, ooh, 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 ooh. You know what I'm saying? Like the dream. So I feel like the producers are setting us up here for a big downfall with Selma in 24 hours because they showed them going out to dinner and, yeah, we're going to spend some downtime together in the Puerto Rico. We're going to definitely, oh my God, baby, 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 baby. It's giving all that while they're at the table. Hey, let me feed you your food in your face. Let me put my food in your mouth. Yeah, baby, I can't wait to spend the time with you. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Meanwhile, Mofo over here is like, yeah, I'm smashing that. So we're gonna have to wait and see where that goes. Sierra then found out, and she literally calls herself Typeface now. So I mean, if I call her Typeface, I shouldn't have no problem with it. I ain't really calling her Typeface, but it just sounds like a fun name. So I'm gonna get in on the fun too. Typeface is very much like, I mean, oh my God, what the tea with this is? I gotta go tell somebody, right? So anyway, they almost spilled the beans to Carly Red, who was real cool with Selma. But what they do is they spill the beans to Zane and his pigtails. So Zane and his pigtails, I'm sure, are probably going to run back and tell Ashley in some way, shape, or form this is about to be a thing. He probably going to tell Scrappy because he can't get nothing to himself except what he be doing. Whatever. At the end of the day, we're going to wait and see how this thing turns out. All right. Anything else happened? Rashida reported back. Rashida had to tell Carly Red about her altercation with Yandy and with Yandy from the A. And so we get a little bit of that. Kirk want to know if Jock and Kendra is going to Puerto Rico, and I can't tell whether or not Jock is going or not. It sounds like he not. I really don't know. Whatever. If I had to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 9 because it really hit me with the startling realization that Mendeeces has checked the F out. Okay. He has checked the F out and he's gone. Get OUT. You know, it's just like out of there. Um, so that's that. And you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to see. You know, are they acting? One never knows with Love and Hip Hop. You know what I'm saying? So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens next week. But I did want to come to y'all and chit chat, get ready with me about this whole situation and talk to y'all about Salt Lake City, talk to y'all about Love and Hip Hop, and see what y'all thoughts were. Did y'all have the same thoughts that I had, or is it just me? You know what I'm saying? Is it just I? Is it the IOU? Is it me? I don't know. Is it we? Somebody let me know in the chat. Now, for those of you guys who are interested in, listen, we got the Maldives complimentary trip. If you're looking to travel, get paid, and make some money, tap into Worldwide 202-918-3386, but only do so if you're serious. You're trying to get some money, you're trying to go on trips, and if you're absolutely serious. Then, if you are really, really interested, I have just solidified our group trip for March, and I will be announcing that. So type group trip to 202-918-3386. Both of those will be in the description of this video. They're actually there right now. So if you are looking to get out of the country just for a little bit, you know, next March, and you want to travel with me, those spots will go pretty quick because I already have quite a few people who are interested. So I want you to be on the list and be in that number. All right. With that being said, y'all, I will catch you in the. Oh, and for those of you guys that tap into Worldwide at 7 p.m. tonight, I'm going to be doing a webinar, and I'm going to be going all the way through all the steps that you need to do to get that complimentary trip to Maldives, get potentially a free cruise, and more. So tap in, and I will catch you guys in the next video.